Hello everyone, I'm Barbara from Fairies in My Pond, and today is Tuesday and I will be answering some of your questions. Now this one today is still going to be on the baking soda. Some of you are still asking me a few questions about it, but there is something here that I really want to share with all of you that I think is really important, or else maybe the baking soda won't work for you. When I first start out with a new box of baking soda, you want to pour it into your pan. What I have in this pan is 1 box of soda. Now what I do is, before I cook any of my raw clay in it, I prep it. And I put it in I cover it up with aluminum foil, and I put it in my oven, and I put it up to about 200 degrees. I just want to heat it up, and I just want to draw out any kind of moisture that might be in that baking soda, so that I get a real nice fresh start with baking soda, so that it will draw out any kind of moisture that is in my polymer clay doll. If you have a box of baking soda that is in your cabinet, I would still do it the same way. I always would prep a new box. Now once it's in my oven and I've been constantly cooking, I don't have to do that anymore. Now if I left my, this is just an example, if I left my oven open and let's say I didn't have the air on and there was a lot of humidity, then I would go ahead and I would prep that baking soda the same way that I did in the very beginning. One other thing that I really do want to share with you, and I have found this a lot, is that baking soda doesn't always work with every brand of clay. So if you're doing the baking soda and you're still getting moonies, white marks, cracks, it's most likely it's the brand of clay. Now I did have a lady that did happen. She went through the whole thing just like what I shared here, and her doll just kept cracking. And when I told her to switch the brand of clay, then everything changed for her. It was the expense went up for her a little bit because she was going for a cheaper brand, but she is now able to at least enjoy the polymer clay without spending all that time working on it and then ending up with cracks or white marks. Now, if you're getting moonies, that isn't necessarily meaning that this baking soda is going to prevent the moonies. Moonies it will happen if it's the way that you're laying that polymer clay onto the core of your armature. So you have to really pay attention to that part of it, that you don't have any trapped air, because that is what is causing moonies, but so can moisture. It's a combination of both. At least that's the way that I find it. Okay, now there's one other thing that I wanted to talk to you about, and that was when I cook my polymer clay doll, when I do take it out while it's hot and I put it in the freezer. But I want to explain here, because some of you have been talking with me about this, and I realize what some of you are doing. So I'm going to share this with you, and maybe some of you might want to give it another go with it. When I take it out of the oven, I always put it straight in my freezer. I don't put it in my refrigerator. I don't put it in a bowl of water with ice. Now I have experimented with the ice and the water, and this is what I found out, and this is my own theory, is that it all has to do with the temperature gauge. My freezer is a certain temperature. If I have a bowl of water and it's full of ice cubes and it's sitting there, colder temperature than my freezer, and if I were to do it that way, you would have to take that piece out a lot quicker than what I would do in the freezer. When I tried that, my doll did crack, but that's when I figured it out, that it has to do with being too cold. I found that by doing it with the freezer, it was never too cold. And don't set it on like a top of ice or something like that. Now, I know I did that with a tutorial, but it was because I couldn't take the camera and walk to the kitchen, so I just did it that way then. But really, I would suggest for anybody, if you're going to try it, just lay it in your freezer on the shelf. The other thing that I do is that I don't leave my doll in the freezer for very long. The only way that I could really suggest, and this is the way that we do it in class, is that it's when I go in and check it with, let's say 5 minutes, maybe 10. Check it at 5 minutes, check it at 10 minutes. And when the doll is beginning to be to where you can handle it, like lukewarm, take it out at that time. Don't let it set in there till the whole doll is completely cooled off. I think that some people, maybe that is why they were experiencing cracks, that it wasn't working. So I wanted to share that with you, and I hope that these little tips have helped you with the baking soda to understand it, and the taking it out of your oven and putting it in the cold. Again, it's going to determine on the brand of clay that you're using as to taking it out of the out of your oven and putting it in your freezer. I found that certain brands will crack. But the one thing that I have to really say is that if you're going to put it in a bowl of water with ice cubes, you really do have a chance of it cracking. Please just try it in your freezer and see how that works, but don't leave it in for a long period of time. Okay, everyone? If anyone has a question that you would like for me to answer, please leave it below, and I will add it to my list if I have not already answered it. If this is your first time being here, please subscribe to my channel. Also, I have a Facebook page and a blog. Please go over to my Facebook page. I am trying to start something that I am going to be offering free to everyone. So if I get any good suggestions or see how we can do this, I would be more than happy to put it together and let's make it happen. So please go over there, join, become a subscriber, and let's see what we can do with polymer clay. Until then, I will see everyone in my next video on next Tuesday.